Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my series WoW to 14. Over the years, I've had plenty of World of Warcraft players ask me several specific questions about FF14 in an attempt to determine if they should make a switch. While the two are very clearly the same style of MMO, there are lots of core differences in how the two function. This series will be focused on covering those differences so you can determine if making the switch is a good move or not. Please keep in mind my expertise is more on Final Fantasy XIV, as my last experience with WoW was between the Burning Crusade and Early Cataclysm. I'll do my best to keep this objective and show no bias towards either game. So the second video in the series will compare the class system of the two games. How does World of Warcraft's way of handling combat classes compare to Final Fantasy XIV's job system? Let's again start with World of Warcraft. When you create a new character in WoW, one of the aspects of your character creation is selecting a combat class for that character. Once that character is created, that class is permanently assigned to that character and cannot be changed. For example, if you start as a shaman, that character will only ever be a shaman. On top of this, not every race has access to every class, though races do come with racial bonuses to make up for it. While you may be locked into a single class, each class has several different specializations or specs that you can choose to play. In the case of Shaman, you can choose to play an Elemental Shaman, which is a ranged DPS, an Enhancement Shaman, which is a melee DPS, or a Restoration Shaman, which is a healer. Each of these specializations has their own strengths and weaknesses as well as exclusive skills. Changing a specialization once selected is also possible by opening up your specialization panel and selecting a different one while out of combat. Specializations also come with what are called talents. Every 15 levels, you unlock a tier of talents. Each tier contains 3 talents, though you can only select 1 talent per tier. These talents can be passive effects that enhance your current abilities, or even new skills for you to use altogether. For example, a level 15 Elemental Shaman can choose between Path of Flame, which enhances Lava Surge's damage and causes Flame Shock to spread to other enemies if it's on Lava Surge's target, Earthen Rage, which causes damaging spells that trigger additional damage on your most recent target, or Totem Mastery, which summons 4 totems to assist you in combat. These choices each have pros and cons depending on what kind of content you are doing. Additionally, Honor talents exist exclusively for PvP once you reach level 110, and you gain additional talent tiers and choices based on your honor levels from participating in PvP content. With World of Warcraft, the class system has you commit to a class when selecting a character. This comes with the advantage of being able to compartmentalize your characters and their focus, only collecting items and doing content you see fit for that specific class. On top of that, each character still sports multiple playstyles within the class via the talents, though how far this playstyle change stretches depends on the class itself. The downsides of this include the need to repeat content you want rewards from once per character, though there are several accomplishments and items that are account-wide. An example would be the class-specific legendary tokens you obtain after receiving every legendary a class has available, at least as of Legion. You also need to level the other characters and manage their inventory and upkeep. While compartmentalization can be good for some players, the idea of managing 6 different characters to play 6 different classes, not to mention being either Horde or Alliance, isn't always something players want to do. Class being tied to race can also be a downside to some people, mostly players who like the aesthetic of one race but find themselves unable to play the class they want. Though those racial abilities are pretty neat. Also, despite having things like talents and legendaries to help customize your gameplay, most of the time the community just comes up with what's best, and if you do anything but that, you're gonna be shunned pretty severely. I mean, to be fair, that's not even a WoW specific problem, that's MMOs in a nutshell. It just means that while it may appear like you have a lot of choices, don't be surprised if someone rages on you for taking a less efficient talent you thought looked fun. With that, let's move on to Final Fantasy XIV, where classes work very, very differently. Upon creating a new character, you will be asked to select one of 8 starting classes. This choice determines what the character will be initially upon starting the game, as well as the city-state you will start in. Once you reach level 10 and complete the class quest for that level, you unlock the Armoury System. The Armoury allows you to unlock all other classes on that singular character, as well as advanced jobs from the expansions once applicable. These classes are also all available regardless of starting race, though race in this game is nothing more than aesthetic, unlike World of Warcraft. So yeah, you can play every single class and job on a single character and switch between them if you need to. This even includes the crafting and gathering classes, though that's a whole nother video waiting to happen. In Final Fantasy XIV, classes learn skills strictly through leveling up and completing class quests. At level 30, you can turn a class into a job, keeping its level while giving it access to more skills via the job quests and increasing its efficiency at its given role. For example, a pugilist will eventually become a monk. Advanced jobs from expansions, on the other hand, start at a minimum level of 30, some of them even at 50, and have no class associated with them, such as the machinist. In endgame content, it's expected that all players have their jobs equipped, as the content is designed with job skills in mind. Final Fantasy XIV has no talent system, so all players of the same job have access to the same active and passive skills. There's a bit of choice when using role actions, which are skills designed to give you options for different scenarios based on your role, but players mostly just take the same role actions as well due to optimization. That Armoury system I mentioned before also comes with a bunch of other features. The Armoury chest allows you to store weapons and armor in their inventory slot per equipment type, such as helms or earrings. You can do this before unlocking it, but it's considered part of your Armoury chest. You can also make preset gear options for each job and make keybinds out of them for easy swapping. You even gain bonus experience points on other jobs that are lower level than your highest job. For example, let's say you have a level 30 paladin and you want to level your marauder. Marauder would get bonus experience points from certain content up until level 30 in this case. If the paladin happened to be level 32, then the marauder would gain bonus EXP up to 32, as long as it doesn't surpass that highest level job. So for the pros with Final Fantasy XIV, a single character is capable of pretty much everything with few limitations. While you may not have specs that customize your individual jobs, you instead have access to every playstyle in the entire game on a single character via the Armoury system. It's so efficient that Square Enix even offers a less expensive subscription if you only intend to play one character per server. You can also play any class no matter what race you want to have. This is great for players who care purely about aesthetic, but others may find it unfortunate that the races don't have anything unique to them other than the way they look, perpetuating the lack of customization in gameplay style that you may have noticed already. I guess that's technically a downside, so let's lead into the other downsides right now. This includes things such as the possibility of having too many items on a single character and still needing to deal with things like daily and weekly lockouts for certain content. You may want to play every job on one character, but you can still only get loot from the raids once per week, so you may not feel super incentivized to do everything on one character regardless. Many players still make alternate characters in order to earn different raid loot for their different characters, raid on a different role, or even raid on a different data center altogether. This also helps deal with inventory bloat and overcoming other daily and weekly lockouts, but to be honest, despite the incredible amount of inventory spaces you get in 14, it just never feels like enough to a lot of people. On top of that, on the flip side to WoW's issue with choice being so much in the hands of the community it's really not a choice at all, 14 doesn't even give you that option. There's no customization with any of its classes or jobs at all. This means that instead of experimenting with talents and people getting very elitist about that, people focus even more on finding that optimal skill rotation for each job. If you need to know more about that, watch the global cooldown video we did before this. Now, if everyone has the same skills and passive, skill rotations become the next big thing players are likely to harass another player with. That's the only thing you have to get right, and everyone generally agrees there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. So overall, both of these systems have a bunch of pros and cons. While it's nice to have everything on one character in 14, it can also be nice to have different characters for different content like in WoW. Even in 14, it's not uncommon for people to make like a healer character and a tank character separately, even though one character could technically do all those things. In Final Fantasy XIV, you also aren't restricted to specific classes based on character race, a convenient thing for players just looking to enjoy the aesthetic of their character above all else. However, WoW's classes being tied to race is very lore-oriented and can make you feel more tied to the world around your selected race. On top of that, the passives and actives that you get, while not the end of the world and not deal breakers, are a nice little touch to have when thinking about customizing your gameplay. Now, like with the last video, the pros and cons go pretty deep, so we won't dwell on them for too long. Bottom line is, two different games do two different things. Pick the one you enjoy most. And with that, that's going to be a wrap to our second WoW to 14 series video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I had a very positive reception to the first video, so I wanted to really get working on the second one. Again, other videos down the line, crafting and gathering classes we teased a little bit in this one, as well as patch structure, type of content released, and stuff along those lines. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more WoW to 14. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, take care.